What's up, team? Happy Monday, MLK Day. To read up on the King, Dr. King, today. If you haven't recently, such an amazing individual who fought for what was right for so long in the face of grave danger. And you can learn a lot from reading about him. I'm not going to focus on him for this video. That'll be a different video. But I do want to talk about this rental increase that we see. Now the numbers are being compiled, and I told you what was going to happen with this. So I'm going to take a quick victory lap on this. Not just on the data, but what the domino that the data hits next. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to look at a couple metaverse things today. These things are, I'm telling you, they're happening. You're going to just see waves and waves and waves of this. One of the bigger investments that I'm going to be scaling in over the next couple of years. I'm going to show you something on Bitcoin too. Very, very interesting stuff here on Bitcoin. What's likely to happen with it next, just based on technical analysis. Markets are closed today, so we're not going to take a huge dive into what interest rates are doing. I'll get my mug out of here. Let's get the disclaimer in first. Derrick Evans here, VA home loan specialist. We do all home loans, but I'm a VA specialist. NMLS 155010. Call or text me if you want to buy or refi. You can email me as well. Information is right there. Okay, so let me get my mug out of here. Nothing like a brand new white shirt. I'll tell you what, make you feel good. So we're not going to look at this much today. Obviously, it's an ugly looking chart. We had a terrible day on Friday. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get some sort of relief from this dreaded downfall in mortgage bonds, which is causing rates to spike. A lot of people asking me, hey, is it too late to refi? Is it too late? Well, what else are you going to do? If you have a VA loan you need to get out of, do you really want to refi it a year from now at much higher rates? I mean, it's your call. Just know, I just want you to know what's going to happen. You decide what you want to do with it. Okay, so, and you'll notice that I'm usually correct about this stuff and way ahead of everyone else. Why is that the case? Because I'm living it. So here's what's happening with rents. This is on a CBS. I actually copied the link somewhere else. I had to take a screenshot. This is the most annoying website of all time, cbs8.com. Get your snap together, folks. My goodness. I couldn't even pause the video, couldn't turn the volume off. I'm trying to promote your link, guys. Goodness. Anyway, they do have some good information in here. Rent increases. This is actual. Okay, so this is data from last year. Oceanside 18%, Carlsbad 18%, Escondido 21%, Vista 21%, San Diego 18.3%. Basically 20% increase in rent. Okay, that's what we saw, and this is with rental control laws in place. This could get much higher. Now, the reason why this is important, this isn't a shock. We've been talking about this. I've been talking about this for a long time. What is important about this, what this does is this kind of data, this kind of reporting is it signals to landlords what I've been telling you. Most landlords don't even realize how much rent they could be getting. And you're going to see the real rent increase happen this year. It's going to be much worse. A lot of landlords don't realize how much rent they could be getting. And reports like this coming out are going to make them take a hard look at that. So one of the things that is good for the real estate market on the resale side or the home purchase side is for rents to be high. Now, before the crash, rents were very low. In fact, they couldn't give away places. I remember the rents on places would be a third of what it is today, a third of what the mortgage payment was back then. And even with higher rate and 100% loans with like 80-20 mortgages that stunk. So, rents were so low because all of the pool of people were on the buy side of the equation. So no one was renting. Therefore, if you wanted to rent a place, you weren't going to get very much for it. Now we don't have that. We have a supply shock across the board. So you're seeing rents go up at a feverish pace, actually more probably, or at least equal to what home values are going up at. So this is going to be another trend for this year. This is going to be pushing a lot of people out of this market. Unfortunately, a lot of good people are going to be leaving because you're going to continue to see rents increase. And now the media is out there. Now the data is getting front and center. So landlords will be following suit. And you know what? I hate to say I told you so, but I did. So hopefully you're taking this information and doing something with it, because I wish a lot of these things wouldn't happen. But when I know they're going to happen, I have to tell you. Here's something that's interesting. Globestreet.com. A lot of experts here that were participants of a Zillow survey. Okay, were mixed. So 41% believe growth, 41% expect downturn, and 18% believe sales will remain the same for this year. Now, all that doesn't really mean anything. These experts don't know anything that you and I don't know. But like I said, and like I've been saying, you're not going to have a crash. You're not going to have a bubble. You're not going to have anything that even looks close to that with these inventory levels, number one. And number two, the sentiment, a lot of people are still negative. A lot of people are still negative. You can't have a bubble burst. You can't have a crash in any market until everyone is on the same side of the equation. Down the road, this may be 5 or 10 years from now, there's going to be a massive, massive crypto crash, because right now we're still in a very early adoption phase. You think you've seen massive crashes, you have percentage-wise, but you haven't seen wealth destruction-wise. That's going to come way down the road once everybody's in. Once you have like full Main Street adoption, you have institutions involved in a big way. By then Bitcoin could be $1 million or $2 million. Who knows? But there's going to be a humongous wealth crash in crypto, because you will eventually get to that point of adoption where everybody's in. Right now with housing, we still have a lot of people on the sidelines going, I'm waiting for prices to go lower. Those are who we would call the bears in this situation. The bulls are buying every piece of real estate they can get their hands on. And I completely understand that. I'm with you. But the fact that experts are divided almost right down the middle just tells you that we can't be close to a crash. Even if we didn't have this inventory situation, we still wouldn't be there just because of demand. So just make note of that. These are the things that I try to articulate and explain, but when there's data to kind of showcase it, I always want to show that to you. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. And this is very recent too, by the way. Metaverse, a couple things on this. We're going to do this. Then I got a local story, and then we're going to go to Bitcoin. Ralph Lauren, CEO, says Metaverse, a way to tap into a younger generation of shoppers. Listen, everybody wants the younger generation. Everybody wants the younger generation of buyers. And is constantly trying to figure out, how do we get to these people? That's why, Instagram ads, Snapchat, that's why these different social medias have been really successful, because they have been able to go out and say, hey, this is a way for you to get in front of a younger generation. Metaverse is seen as a 3-dimensional way to do that. I think it actually could harm some of the other outlets out there. I'm not talking about Snapchat. I'm not talking about Instagram. I'm not talking about Facebook, some of the other social medias that the kids are into, because they're not going to have a metaverse play. Snapchat will be in the metaverse. Facebook owns Instagram and owns the metaverse, so they're going to be in good shape. Ralph Lauren, CEO, says this. Now, that's not it. Walmart also quietly preparing to enter. Now, they're quietly. Walmart can't do anything quietly. Walmart is the Titanic of retail. I can't do anything quietly, but they're venturing into metaverse with plans to create its own crypto and NFTs. Big box retailer filed several trademarks late last month. That's a dead giveaway. You don't file trademarks on now. Sometimes you file a trademark on something and go, you know what, we want that over there just in case we need it. We don't want someone else to get it. But you can't file a trademark on something that you're not going to use. So you have to have the plans to use it relatively soon. And so in a separate filing, the company said it would offer users a virtual currency as well as non-fungible tokens, NFTs. It looks like it's happening. And a lot of companies are going to do this, and a lot of them are just kind of fear of loss, right? They don't want to miss out. They're going to have a little FOMO. Hey, we're going to miss out on all that metaverse money. And they're going to start getting into it. And they're early. They're going to be early. This thing still needs a year or two to cook. But, like I said, I did a whole video on what I would invest in the metaverse if you wanted to, depending on how risky you want to be with it. But for me personally, the smartest thing to do and the easiest thing to do is to just buy Facebook stock. They're going to benefit the most. That thing is going to be huge. You can pretty much count on it. Here's something interesting. The mighty Bertrand has sold San Diego's Mr. A's. So Mr. A's is now under new ownership. This is a place a lot of people forget about, but everyone knows about. Everyone's had at least a dinner there. It's an amazing place. Local area, local restaurant. Really, really tough time for restaurants. Go check them out. Get new ownership. Go check the place out if you haven't been there in a while. This was interesting. This is a legit study. Researchers that are affiliated with Oregon State University have found that cannabis compounds prevent infection by COVID-19 virus. How about that? Now, I'm not necessarily advocating for this. I just thought it was interesting. I think you may want to check it out. There's some people who would probably really love to see this. There's some people who would probably shake their head about it. But whatever. Hey, listen, the truth is the truth. Check out the data. It's pretty good. Pretty good data. And it doesn't say that you have to do any of the bad stuff, I don't think. It's mostly hemp varietals, CBGA. But there's CBD and CBDA. There's CBD and then there's what's the bad stuff? And then there's the bad stuff. So, if you have CBD or CBDA or CBG or CBGA, then it's not the hallucinogen stuff. It's not the actual drug stuff. It's just part of the stuff that comes from the plant. It's pretty cool. So check that out. By the way, in case I haven't made this clear already, don't go on a cruise. They're requiring vaccination, and still tons of people are getting COVID on the cruise ships. Don't go on a cruise. Norwegian cruise ship cancels mid-voyage amid COVID-19 related issues. Now, I want to point out two things on this, because this is a very popular website, Hill. Number one, they stated this, and it sounds like they stopped mid-voyage and just like, we're like, hey, everybody, we're just going to float around out here in the ocean. Obviously sounds ridiculous, right? This is something I want to show you. 1:15. So that's what? 2 days ago. Look at this. Correction. See, this is what's wrong with journalism. There has to be a penalty for this. Correction. The Norwegian Gem cruise ship canceled its voyage during its trip and is returning to New York. A previous version of this article included incorrect information. Why not fix the headline then? It's all about clickbait. It's all about traffic, clickbait. That's how these places monetize. It's truthfully disgusting to see what happens with the media. And then this is all they have to do for a correction legally, is just put this in here. That's it. It's so bad. But don't go on cruise ships. It's not a good time to do this. If you want to take a cruise, give it a few years. Let's see if things can get better. Give it 3 or 4 years. It's not a good time to do it. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin here. Now, this is from TradingView on a weekly chart, a weekly Bitcoin chart, which shows the rising wedge that Bitcoin is in. If this is correct, looks like I have space. I'm going to put my little ad up here for myself. Okay, so if this plays out, you can see where the actual movements are. It's kind of flowing right direct with this rising wedge. You can see kind of what's going to happen here. This looks very, very bullish, but also keep in mind, these are weekly candles. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of sort of sideways weakness. I will say one thing. We look at the actual BTC chart. We're coming down off of this high right here. So this is a long ways down, guys. I mean, this is from 69,000 to 40, where we're at right now, 41,800. That's a long ways down. Typically, if you're going to like crash or make super low lows, you don't get that long of an opportunity to sell. By the way, this is the 4-hour chart, to just kind of, oh, hey, we're just going to pause here for a while and give you a chance to get out before we crash this thing. That's not usually how like crashes work. Usually, they happen very quickly. You get caught off guard by it. It's so bad that you have to push the sell button. You just have no choice. And that's really not happening here. So I did draw a parallel line. This is my best guess of drawing a look at what the channel is that we're looking at for this rising wedge. So this is the channel. Here's the rising wedge. A little bit harder to see his graph. This is from TradingView, so you have a TA guy in there who provided this, and they gave a whole bunch of information on it, which is pretty impressive stuff, to be honest with you, and incredible how accurate these things have been historically when you go back and look at the chart. But that said, it may not happen, right? It could fail. I'm really wanting to look at this trend line here, this big trend line here that we're kind of counting on the bounces happening from. That's what I'm trying to track. So that's what I've drawn here. I think I drew it a little bit better than he did. But even said, here's the bad news. Bad news is where we're at right here, there's some downside. Even if we come over, and in case it takes a couple days to get there, 30s are in play. And some people have said, hey, if we hold 40, it's good. If we go below 40, it's effed. I don't buy that. I don't buy that, because this bigger trend is probably more important than that. Now, his line was more upright than mine. His line was more upright than mine. You could draw this in a lot of different ways, but I think there's more room to say, hey, we could actually come down a little bit and then come off of this thing, and you would still have your total rising wedge situation going on. You would still have your up, down, and then up to a higher high. And that's kind of what the expectation is, that we're going to make a higher high at some point this year off of this. This could take a lot of time to develop. I think the fact that Bitcoin is moving slowly is good. I think the fact that it's not going all over the place, if we really zoom in on it, it's relatively just in one of these sort of common, let's see, what do I need to do to get in? TradingView is great when it works. So here's just kind of the range that we're in right now. These kind of slow moving ranges that we've been in, these aren't bad. Being in these ranges is good. Now, of course, we wish that we were ranging higher, but it's nice to not have these huge liquidation candles and have all of this craziness going on. So, the one thing about Bitcoin, the other markets are closed, but Bitcoin's open. And is that an advantage or a disadvantage to it? I haven't figured out yet. Bitcoin is open 24/7, which means it's actually much more ripe for manipulation than even the traditional markets are. But that said, it is, if you're going to be the best, if you're going to be the beast, you got to be open 24/7. I've been saying for years, if a bank would just say, we're going to be open 7 days a week, the first bank to do that, everyone would go bank with them. Because obviously people are available on the weekends. It's be much better for the banks to be open on the weekends than on Monday and Tuesday. But banks service business clients as well. So they need to be open Monday and Tuesday. But if you really want to service the consumer, you'd be open 7 days a week. You're going to see that with the crypto banks. You're going to see that with the crypto exchanges that are sort of positioning as banks. And the crypto markets are already open 24/7. So we'll see if this is correct. We'll see if this plays out. It may not. But I got to tell you, it looks really good on the macro side for Bitcoin. So still hodling here. And again, main focus today was not just the victory lap aspect of this, but the fact that, we've been talking about how a lot of landlords don't realize how much they could be getting in rent. And now it's being plastered all over the news. So just expect rents to go much higher this year. Put yourself in the best position that you can to take advantage. You have questions about buying, refining, shoot me a text, give me a call. I'm here to help. Hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.